2, 1. There we go. So let me just kind of press the play button. Alrighty, welcome to the Call Zoo coaching call. It is February 13th already. Holy smokes. And this particular webinar here, I'm going to be talking about private blog networks. And although there's a lot of information out there about how to do them, look, I got nothing to sell you. None of that kind of stuff. It's just pure information based on our experience of what we do. And I think you're going to grab a lot of really good insights to it. So let's get started. Alrighty, so as with the other webinars, if you're used to the format by now, I'm going to start with kind of some things that are kind of on the top of mind awareness and with business and life, because you can't compartmentalize that stuff, right? And so I'm going to share with you some of that right now, and then we'll get started into the kind of nerdy stuff. But you really can't separate the nerdy stuff from life and your business and everything that goes on with it. So with that, look at this. Look at this incredibly powerful picture here. I mean, you've probably already figured it out, right? It's an elephant. This just gives you the enormous power that this mammal has. This is the largest land mammal right now. I mean, this is the closest thing to a gigantic dinosaur that we have. And just look at the power and feel the power that it has. Just think about that for a moment. This animal, this creature here, it's just literally kind of like standing over the car like, I'm just going to stand here. I'm not going to crush you, although I could. I could easily take you and turn you upside down and just crush you to pieces. But I'm not going to. I'm just going to stand over you, and I'm going to breathe, and you're going to feel my stomach expand in and out from the pushing of my lungs, gathering air and pushing it out. I mean, it's just an awesome, awesome picture. So think of this for a second as I share with you some thoughts and reflections of my childhood. So here we go. So this is something I've never shared before, and I'm sure some of you can relate on some levels because we've all experienced this kind of stuff. When I had an extreme, I would say very extreme stuttering when I was a child, up until I was 13, 14 years old. Normally stuttering, when it happens, it's normally in the like first, second grade, and then it kind of works itself out. Mine didn't. And at the time and where I was going to school, there was no, I'm kind of dating myself here. I'm 50 years old, but there was no kind of traditional therapy for it. It was just kind of, he'll just figure it out on his own. But anyways, until I was 13 years old, I was just basically shunned out. And this led a lot of realities that I carried on into my adulthood about what is possible. Basically, it led to a glass ceiling about my reality in life, what I cannot do. One of the greatest fears I had naturally was as an adult, and most people do, but mine was like hyper fear. I mean, like literally, like I would rather die than do it. Was public speaking naturally, because I had stuttered all the way until I was 13 years old. And heavily teased about it, heavily, bullied about it. And I could create I didn't have any social life. I had no friends, and it was very, very hard. And so I created some beliefs and realities, and some basically limitations about reality and life moving forward as a child. Naturally so, wouldn't you? I mean, that's just what you would do, right? So I knew that, speaking takes on a lot of roles. I knew I would never become my thought was I'd never become a teacher, because then I'd have to speak in front of others, and I would not do that. I felt like I was less intelligent than other people. I felt that there was something genetically wrong with me. And so these kind of things you carry on. These are lessons that you learn in life, and you carry on into your adulthood. And it runs very similar to this kind of story that I want to share with you really quickly on here. Because maybe you never had a stuttering problem until you were 13 years old, which is rather severe, I admit. But we all get social conditioning that gives us anchors and rules about what we can and cannot do. And that's the point here. So I want to paint a picture for you. And this is where the elephant comes in. You're probably wondering, why the heck did he just show me this elephant over this car? Well, this is why. So look, this elephant here, this is a baby elephant. And you're probably wondering on here, these elephants, these just massive, massive beasts on here. And I mean beasts in a good, positive way. How do these little tiny, tiny humans control them? Well, this is how they do it. And this has a lot to do with you. Okay? So this is a baby elephant. And what they do is they put a chain either to the neck or the foot, and they put it to a tree or to a stake, a giant metal stake that's driven deep into the ground. And as any natural creature would do, they want to be free. Everybody wants to be free. It doesn't matter what you are. Whatever kind of animal you are or insect, you want to be free. And if you're restricted, you will resist. If someone pushes against you, you're going to push back. You're going to resist back. Just naturally. Look at any 2 or 3-year-old. You ask them to do something that they don't want to do. What do? They react back. They resist. It's inherent in us, okay? So, and it's also inherent in these incredibly intelligent creatures, these elephants. I don't know if you've seen these YouTube videos of these elephants where with their nose, their long nose, they will wrap up a paintbrush and they will paint. They will actually paint on a canvas, and they will paint elephants and whole herds of elephants. It's absolutely phenomenal. But anyways, so over time, what happens is that these elephants grow up, and they grow up strong. And here's these gigantic elephants, these huge, huge, huge beasts, and they are still tied down by this now, not even a chain. It's just a tiny, tiny, almost a string. It's just a tiny, tiny rope. And they don't even try to remove themselves from it. But why don't they? It's called conditioning. And the same thing that's happening to the elephants is happening to you. And I'm asking you right now to ask yourself, what limiting beliefs, and this is kind of a challenging question, because the limiting beliefs, sometimes you're not aware of them, just like the elephant is not aware. I mean, you can look from the outside and go, how can this gigantic beast not realize they can just easily, without hardly any effort at all, literally just pull that right out of the ground and just be free? But they've been conditioned from a child that they can't. So what limiting beliefs have you had that probably started when you were a child that are holding you back? Because right now, that elephant you see in the picture, what is it doing? It's just like, this is my life. This is the way it's supposed to be. This is it. They are clueless that they could just rip that out of there. And trust me, these are intelligent creatures. I'm going to challenge you that they're probably just as intelligent as you. So there's no difference there. But the similarities are the same. They have limiting beliefs that can be imposed on them, and so do you. So you need to be asking yourself, what limiting beliefs do you have on your life that were put from an early age? from people that are around you, from your society, from your school, from your business, from your relatives, from your friends on here that said, you can't do this. That's ridiculous. That's crazy. Go to school, get a good job, do this, do that. No, you have to wake up. You have to break free from the ball and chain. You have to break free from it. You have to pull it out. You have to realize, has anybody ever said to you, wow, I cannot believe you're not doing this, or wow, you're so good at that. Don't you see that? It's just like you and I right now looking at this elephant, like, can't you just pull that out? Because this should be you right here. This should be you. All right? That should be you and me right now, taking that ball and chain and saying, the heck with it. I'm going to move forward. I'm not going to let social circumstances, and there's so many social influences, exercises I could do, but that's not the point of this on here. But that's it. So the bottom line is this. Ask yourself, what limiting beliefs do you hold? And I know it's challenging to do because maybe you don't even realize it. But when you get those feelings like, you kind of want to do something, but something stops you from doing it. And you need to then be very aware of that and ask yourself, whoa, what's going on here? What's the thought process? And then try to trace that back. Where did it start? And even if you can't find it, break free of it. Know that you can just pull it right out of the ground and go. You are powerful like an elephant. You can be that same way. So let's get started here with private blog networks. So first, I'm going to assume that everybody on this call pretty much knows about private blog networks and what they are. So this is not going to be real basic. But so it's not going to be real basic. So, but even if you're totally a newbie at this, you'll find extreme value in here. In the last couple of years, particularly the last 18 months, there's been a lot of information out there. It's really good. So that's kind of the premise where I'm going to start here. So basically, what's a private blog network? The bottom line is this, is that you cannot today, in today's game, this whole SEO game, you can't expect to be competitive and rank up there without employing a private blog network of your own. You just can't do it, period. The days of doing this, SEO nuke kind of stuff and Fiverr and buying backlinks and all that, those days are all gone, okay? Google's already, Google has spam engineers from Harvard and MIT. It's just a totally different game than it was before. So we have to today just try to reproduce what a real link would be, and that's what a private blog network is today. This is not an optional skill, folks, on here. You have to know this stuff, period. If you don't know it, and this is like a basic skill. This is like if you want to do SEO, I mean, you have to know private blog networks. That's just it, period. And there's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it, and we're going to talk about the right way. So when we're looking at this stuff and I'm explaining some of this, I need you to keep two frames in mind, okay, in your brain on here. I need you to first always remember, always filter these two things through your mind. First, when you're doing a private blog network, you've got to remove all footprints. That's like number one, okay? So that's going to be a big topic for tonight. Second, you must make quality sites, okay? You've all heard that content is king or queen or whatever you want to call it, but it's quality. It comes down to quality. Gone are the days where you can just kind of throw up a generic site and just start posting stuff up and blah, blah, blah. No. Because look, private blog networks are one of the biggest threats to Google, Bing, and Yahoo, or any search engine out there. Why? Because they work so well. And because they work so well, if you just put a little bit of effort into them to make them look real, make them look like somebody actually owns and cares about that freaking site, then you have really unlimited access to Google. Now think about that. I don't know these numbers for sure. I'm just kind of pulling it. I'm just guessing right now, but probably one of the most lucrative companies in the world, both today and in the future, is probably Google. And that is because people get online every day more and more and more, right? And if you can get a piece of that traffic, whatever your niche is, and you get in front of that traffic, that's powerful. There's just nothing, really, there's nothing in the world better than that for business. Seriously, nothing. So that's why private blog networks are so important and so scary to Google and the other search engines, is that when they're done correctly, you can just start backlinking these incredible backlinks to your site, and the way their algorithms work, you're going to rank. And they don't like them. But when you really grasp the concept, there's nothing they can do about it. No matter how many, smart academic, Ivy Tower, MIT, Yale people they hire, they cannot take the private blog networks down if you understand how to do them right. Okay? You understand the power of this? I hope so. So let's go ahead and nail this. Alrighty, so private blog networks, it's all about removing the footprints. Number one footprint that, last 12 months or so, a lot of people have been talking about. So I can't say no one's been talking about it. But the number one footprint you want to remove is called SOA, which stands for Start of Authority Records, which really is your postmaster email address. So what that means is that when you go to set up a hosting account, the hosting account is going to say what's your email, what's your name, what's your address, what's your, how we're going to bill you. And then you enter that in and you're in, right? Well, guess what? At that point, they got your email address. And that's the start of authority. And what happens is that a lot of people will go out there and they'll get, they already understand the gist. It's like, okay, I'm gonna get, I'm gonna have, different WordPress themes on. I'm gonna have, different content. I'm gonna vary it up. I'm certainly going to create some avatars for all of my domain registrations. But when they look to hosting, they think, I'm going to take my hosting and I'm going to get different hosting at different places. But they register with the same email address every single time. We'll talk about that more in a second. That's going to nail you. And I'm going to show you how to avoid that. It's one of the biggest things out there that most people don't realize how to do it. But if you've already done it, you've already got some different hosting out there and you got some private blog networks, well, I would suggest that you first, and I didn't put this in the slides, so I'd first contact your host provider and say, hey, I need to change my SOA. How do I do it? So just let them know, because some of them don't allow you to do it. Others do, but if you do it wrong, you're going to just mess up a whole bunch of things. So be very careful with it if you've already done it. If you haven't done it, no worries. I'm going to show you how to just float through without having to worry about it. So this is kind of a little bit geeky stuff. I'm not going to do a demo on it. It's just too, it's just too boring. But anyways, in your cPanel, and most people are in cPanel, if you've already got some hosting, you already got some private blog networks up there. By the way, how you search for these things is you can just easily just use your email address, the main one you always use when you for your billing or whatever, and just put quotes around it. And instead of @ put a period, because that's how the cPanels do it. So maybe it's at chris@gmail.com. You'd go quotes, Chris, period, gmail.com, quotes, and put that in the search engines, and then you'll discover every single freaking site and domain that you own. That's how easy it is to find out. Okay. So if you've got those out there, then you need to go into cPanel, go to update, contact information, and then just enter a different one. And then also the second stage is go into your DNS records and then update SOA. Now, that's if you've already done it. If you haven't and you're like, hey, I have no private blog networks whatsoever, I'm just getting started. Perfect. I'm going to show you how you never have to do this, how to do it the right way. So SEO records, start the right way. Here we go. So you're going to create an avatar per domain. All right. So you can use fakename.com or just use your imagination, whatever you want to do. But each domain that you get for your private blog network, you're going to want a name, an address, a phone, and an email. Okay. The name, address, and phone number can all be fictitious. The email cannot. That's the key. Your private blog network email, what I like to do is I'll just take, say you got 20, well, let's just keep it simple. Let's say you got 10 private blog networks, and they all have different email addresses. They can be any email address, by the way. Just to keep it, to keep it manageable, I just forward all those to one email that we always check. When you sign up for a hosting, because you want to have different hosting for every single one of your private blog networks, okay? For billing purposes, you want to use your name, your address, your phone number, okay? That's perfectly fine. So it doesn't matter where you go for hosting. You're going to use your real name, your real address, your phone number. That's all that billing stuff. But you're going to use the avatar email, okay? It's really, really important. That's how you avoid this SOA, okay? It's a major, major footprint, all right? If you just go around and say, okay, I got this really good expired domain. It fits my niche, blah, blah, blah. I got 5 of them. I know I need to get different hosting accounts for them and all that kind of stuff. And then you go and sign up for the hosting. But everyone the hosting, you use the same email. You're screwed. You're totally screwed. Okay? So you got to use a different email address. But your name, your address, your phone number for the billing, totally fine. But the email's got to be different. So you got to have an email that matches every one of your domains. It doesn't need to be a phone verified email, by the way. So, and then the second step is your domain registration. It's the same steps that you follow for the hosting. Okay? It's just that your billing contact on that, you're going to use your avatar for your register, your admin. Here, I got another photo on this side here. So this is what I've got in the training in the callzoo.biz area on that. So when you set up a domain name, this is what you need to do, whether you're doing it for your niche site or for your domains. Is every single domain register, it doesn't matter what it is, GoDaddy, Namecheap, blah, 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 HostGator, it doesn't matter. They all have this somewhere in this form. They've basically got 4 different entries for the domain. And one's going to be the billing. So the billing, just use your name because you're paying the bill, right? So just use your name. It's no problem. Just use your address, no problem. Just use your billing information, PayPal or credit card or whatever you do, no problem. Email, whoa. Be very careful about that. You want to use the same email that you're going to associate with your private blog network domain, okay? That's really important for the billing. And then for the technical, the admin, and the register, guess what? All of those points on there, the name, the address, the phone number, the email, that's all your avatar's information. It's really important to do that, okay? Alrighty, so I'm going to assume everybody knows how to do that. So we're going to move on here. For your private blog network, the number 2 footprint that nobody talks about. You want to use the same Firefox profile with an IP address that you logged into your private blog network and not your money site. So let me explain more here. So this is This is how you want to do this for your Firefox profiles. This is really important because so many people completely disregard this. It's like so-called gurus and experts in private blog networks. They completely ignore this point. It's like Google's been tracking your IP address and your profile for your browser for years. They track everybody's. That's how they've made their fortune. That's what they started doing from day one. Hello, people. Because they're all about paid advertising, right? So when you do paid advertising, or they do their paid advertising, what are they tracking? They're tracking every single user's browser IP, whether it's Chrome or Firefox or whatever, and their IP address. And they're tracking them. What are you looking at? What are you clicking on? What are you doing? Does it make sense? So really, really important that you want to follow these same principles here. So your Firefox profile is your Firefox. It's a separate Firefox. And in the course, I'll go over that in great detail, plus a different IP address. And again, I go over that in great detail in the course, and I'm going to do it here. So we're going to abbreviate that as FFP, Firefox Profile. The number one rule for that is that your Firefox profile never backlinks to its own sites. So you would never be like I got a plumber site up, I'm getting the plumber site going, and then I got these private blog networks, and I'm still logged into the same Firefox profile, the same Firefox IP, and I'm building up these these private blog networks, and now I'm through the same profile, I'm sending backlinks to my site. Do you see how ridiculous that is? That's just like you're just like raising your hand the whole time, going, "Hoo-hoo, it's me over here. I'm trying to game the system." Okay, don't do it. Trust me, this is insane. Everybody's been on top of this. This is not some new technology. Okay, this has been around forever. You take any kind of, I won't go into it, but anyways, just hopefully you'll listen to me on that end of it. So anyways. So when I'm talking about a Firefox profile group, so you have, brand new Firefox group profile, which I go over in great detail in the course on how to do, whether you're Mac or Windows. And if you're Windows, move over to Mac. It's a totally different, it's just so much better. But anyways, so a Firefox profile group, you only have one of each of the Web 2.0s. And if, you're a new Carl Zoom member, then we just hand those out all day long. The Web 2.0s, high trust 10 and above, and so you only have one of your Web 2.0s and a maximum of 3 private blog networks. So what do I mean by that? Basically, it's like this. Look, Weebly and Tumblr and LiveJournal and all those Web 2.0 sites are totally on it. It's like if you keep logging in, if you log in to 2 different Tumblr accounts from the same, your own Firefox and your own IP address, they're going to ban you. Like, nah, it's too spammy, you're out of here. So that's where it comes down to the bottom rule on here, the last one, the 4th rule, and that is that your Firefox profile, this is an example of it. You'd have one Weebly, one Blogger, one LiveJournal, one Tumblr, and 1 to 3 private blog networks. Okay? And from that one Firefox profile, you would be logging into all these and doing all your activity on here. Okay? I hope that makes sense. Okay, so this is, I wanted to kind of give an example here. And I've taken out, kind of grayed out there the domain names, because you could just, if you saw the domain names, you could just go buy them anywhere, Namecheap, GoDaddy, HostGator, wherever you buy domains, because all these are available today. And I want you to look at the trust flow factor on here. We have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these, and we can generate more and more on demand. It doesn't matter. My team has produced what I think is the best. But anyways, it is definitely a proprietary software system that allows us to scrape the internet for basically domains that have expired and haven't made their way to dealers that are going to be selling them, basically, because they do a very similar thing. We just got a little bit more sophisticated. But anyways, look at the trust flow here. We have 36, 28, 28, 28, 27, 27, 27, 26, 26, 26, 20, 25, and so on. Those are some pretty impressive trust flows on that. And we have these available for the members, and we get as close as we possibly can to your niche that you're in. So these are the things that these are the domains that you're going to use. And we don't charge any extra for these. Okay, we could easily, for any of these, for a trust flow of 25 to 36, I could go out and buy these domains and then put them on the open market for $100, $150 a piece, no problem, easily. Especially with the backlink profile, these are totally clean links. These are totally clean domain names, no foreign anchor tags, none of that kind of junk. Good Wayback Machine profiles, all that kind of stuff. So, but as a member of CallZoo, you get access to these. So we're going to be able to give those to you, and it's just the price of whatever How much does a .com cost today at Namecheap? I don't know, $9.99. Okay, then that's what these domains are going to cost you. Okay, so I just want to share that with you. Private blog network, the removal of footprints. That's the kind of the whole theme here. The number one rule that I don't hear a lot of whole people talking about, but yet I'm not listening, so maybe it's already kind of known. But images. Everyone says, oh, you got to write original content. You need to add some images, and then you got to, whoa, images. Hang on a second. So with the images, you got to make sure that your images are not creating a footprint. If you got 10 or 20 private blog networks out there, and you're using images from your computer, and you're not doing it the right way, then it creates a massive footprint. We have to remove footprints. That's what this whole game is all about. So if you're a Windows user, then you're going to want to use this free software, which was recommended by a user. Appreciate it very much. If you're a Mac user, then just hop on to the Apple Store and look for this plugin, EXIFP Purge. It's totally free. Both of these are free. And what it does is it just cleans up all of the data. And there's a ton of data on photos, by the way, people. It doesn't matter whether you take the photo or you buy the photo or whatever. There's a ton of information on these photos. And these two softwares, whether you're a Mac or PC user, will help remove that. That's what you need to do. All righty. Okay, so I'll take a quick drink of water here, and we'll continue. Alrighty. Okay, so we're just growing in the number of people that are coming on the call. Appreciate that. Alrighty. So private blog network hosting. Let's talk about hosting now. Alrighty. So I mean, you should all know this by now, but some of you have never done private blog networks, so that's okay. But you should don't ever use SEO hosting. So if you type in SEO hosting, this is going to be hosting companies that only cater to private blog networks. Google and other search engines are all over this. Okay, they know it. So if you want to go post your site on one of these SEO hosting companies, well, don't expect much. Okay, because you're already a target. Okay. So that should be pretty much common knowledge, right? So the other thing is that you want one host provider per domain. So you got a domain, then you're going to want one host provider. And then you got another domain, you get a different host provider. That's just kind of the way it goes right now. So because we're trying to look like, what we're trying to do here is replicate the process of a real site giving you a backlink. And so you got to keep that in mind at all times. I know there's a lot of like cheap hosting out there. Be very, 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 did I say very? No, very, very concerned about that for a number of reasons. First of all, most people learn about these cheap hostings through some type of private blog network type of network, a forum or blog post or whatever. And there's probably been another 20, 30, 40, 50,000 other private blog network people who also read the same article and decided to use the same cheap hosting. And the cheap hosting carries a bunch of problems with it. The first is that they're going to have, because they're cheap hosting, more times than not, this is my first hand experience, is that they don't have good uptimes. They do go down quite a bit. These are these $2, $3 a month hosting, even $4, I'm talking US dollar, per month hosting programs. And when the whole server is going down, once or twice a week and stuff, it's going to affect the rankings and the reputation of your site. So just be very, very wary of that kind of cheap hosting. So I would recommend using some kind of regular hosting like HostGator, GoDaddy, just some regular stuff out there, not the super cheap ones. And then if you want to learn my preference about what I do with my company, just go to callzoo.biz/hosting. And it is a excellent friend of mine from Europe. And I don't know, about 4 years ago, he said, hey, we started this new hosting company for private blog networks. And I was like, okay, cool. If you're still around in a couple of years, give me a call back. And he was. And so I was like, great. And then we've got over 1,000 sites on his hosting plan. So check it out. It is by far the easiest and the best. You don't have to worry about cPanel stuff. It's just really, really well run. And he's got regular audits of people from the industry coming in and trying to find leaks and basically leaks, which equals footprints, and they just don't have any. So it's probably the best. So when you look at it, it's kind of like, okay, so they've got like you can order the minimum package is like 10 domains. So 10 domains is like $29 a month. So if you just kind of compare that, you would pay, $60 to $70 a month, and you'd have to pay the whole year up front. So you'd have to pay like $1,000 up front if you're going to go with traditional hosting. Because, if you go with GoDaddy and you're going to want to go with even their smaller program, their real, $6.99 a month price is only if you pay a full year up front. So anyways, it's a good deal, and it's trusted. We've used them for years now. So anyways, enough of that. Let me see if I can move on from here. The next slide. Okay, so domain registration. That's the next thing, okay? So is that the next thing? Let me move back. Hang on one second. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Nope, we're good. Okay. Cool beans, right? Okay, so your domain registration when you go to buy it at wherever you want to buy this. Now, you're going to get the domains from CallZoo, okay? We're not the middle person. We don't own these domains. It's just, you have a niche. We've done our best job to match it up. We've done our best job to make sure the link profile is good, that you don't have really crazy, Chinese text type of Japanese text type of backlinks, all this kind of junk. And you should do your own due diligence, of course. But we've really done a superb job of making sure these are good domains. And if it's a .com, it's going to cost you whatever a .com costs today. If there's a coupon today for a .com, then it's going to cost you whatever it is minus the coupon, right? So there is no shenanigans or middle person stuff going on here. It's just we've realized that we can scrape more domains than we could possibly ever use. So you don't want to register all your domains on the same day. So let's say you contact our support desk and say, hey, I'm looking for 4 or 3 domains in the, health niche or whatever. And we give you 3. They're all, high trust flow at 20 or above. They got clean backlinks, profiles, all that kind of good stuff. You don't want to register them all on the same day. Just stagger it up a little bit. And then use different registers. Okay? So don't just register them all through, if you go through GoDaddy, don't just all register them through there. Register one through GoDaddy, another through Namecheap, Name Silo, Internet BS, that kind of stuff. Because it mixes it up. And by the way, those last 3 all provide free Whois registration with the domain. So we'll get into that later. So you want to distribute your domains among 4 to 5, 6 registers. So just pick out, you got GoDaddy, Namecheap, Name Silo, Internet BS, and HostGator. So there's 5, and you could just take your sites, your private blog networks, and you can kind of distribute them out. So 2 or 3 here, 2 or 3 at the next place. The idea is to mix them up. Alrighty, so I get this question a lot, so I want to address this right away. And I get it in the forums too, but I want to make it very clear about where I stand with it. But if you stand somewhere different, then go ahead. I mean, my way is not the highway, okay? It's my way or the highway. That's just not the way it is. I'm a student, so constantly learning. But from my experience and from my reasoning, I just don't see it as advantageous to add one of these kind of spider blocker plugins to your site. Why? Well, just ask yourself, where did you hear about it from? How did you hear about it? You're probably on somebody's list that has something to do with private blog networks, something to do with SEO. So the only people that are buying these stuff is people who are creating, my argument anyways, is that most people who are buying these plugins and installing them are creating private blog networks. They are trying to game the system. So to me, that just raises a big red flag. And that's not the way I recommend you build your private blog networks anyways, where you got a whole bunch of outbound links to different sites and stuff. I'll get into that later, but for right now, it's just probably not the best way to do it. My recommendation is that for any kind of blockers, that just don't use them. Just don't use them. I don't use them. We don't use them on our sites because if we did, we'd have a common footprint among all of our sites. It's like, hey, I got nothing to hide. Excuse me. I got nothing to hide. Come check us out. Come crawl us. Go through our links. Look at us. We got nothing to hide. Go for it and report us. Okay? To me, that's the kind of attitude you want to have. Okay, private blog network, no. There's no top level domain variation. This happens a lot. People end up creating their own little private blog networks. They get some success with it, and then they kind of decide, you know what, I'm just going to have all .coms. It's not natural. We're trying to create natural here. In this crazy, funny world we call SEO. So you want to create natural. So how are you going to do that? Simple. Have 2 or 3 .coms, but then throw in a .org, throw in a .info, something like that. And when you log in, and we'll have this, my programmer said I'll have it done on Tuesday, but let's just realistically say Wednesday, or actually Thursday or Friday. It's just the way it goes with programming. We'll have a whole list of all of the domains that other people forgot about that are high trust flow and all that kind of good stuff. We'll have a list of those, and we don't want to create abuse because anybody could just, I mean, you could literally take these domains and just, you could profit from them on their own. I mean, we're just giving to you for whatever it costs to buy a domain. So you could find a domain that's got a trust flow of 24. It's a nice, good generic niche. It's got good backflow, consistency, and anchor tags. Nothing spammy about it. I mean, something like that at a trust flow of 24. I mean, just shop for it yourself if you're in the business. I mean, that's 80, 90, depending on the domain, 400, $500. And we're just saying, here it is for whatever a regular domain is, $9.99. It's a steal of a deal. So we have to be able to try to prevent against abuse, right? So that's why we're creating this interface. So it'll allow you guys to log in, look at available domains, but you can't actually see the domains. But you can see all the backlinking profile, and then you select the ones just you want. And then we take them off the list, and then we limit you to the amount you can actually pull off. Because we don't want some coming in there and just like grabbing like 20 of them and like using 2 for themselves and then taking like the next 18 and selling them online somewhere. We just don't. That's just, anyways, I'm sure you understand. You wouldn't do that, but others might. Okay, private blog network. Okay, so I'm sure this kind of starts to kind of break the pack apart a little bit. It depends how advanced you are on private blog networks to whether you'll understand this question or not. So with private blog networks, should you rebuild the site to its original way or not? Well, it depends. So I know people like step-by-step instructions of how to do this and that, but this one, life is not like that. So if you go, this is a really cool service, by the way, super, super cool. Is you go to the Wayback, if you go to the Wayback Machine, and if those of you who are kind of experienced, you probably know what that is. You go to the Wayback Machine, you check out the sites in the past couple of years, make sure they weren't, they haven't been abused and turned into a backlinking site or something like that. And you just kind of get to know what the site was about. But the waybackdownloader.com, I'm not affiliate or anything like that, just a great service. They will take your domain that you just purchased and you give them on the Wayback Machine the domains that showed up there, and they will literally rebuild the site. They will rebuild it. Okay, so do you need to do that with all your sites? No, heck no, you don't. But you should consider it and know it's available for some. And I don't know anyone who's, this is kind of one of my little secrets, this waybackdownloader.com, but I'm sure there's others on the call that have heard about it just because. But, I didn't hear about it from a course or something like that. We just, our team found out about it, about just, investigation. But it's a really fantastic tool. It's fantastic. So, if you're in a particular niche and you got a URL that's just like a perfect niche match, you may want to consider using them. If you go into the Wayback Machine and you click on it, you're like, yeah, we need to rebuild this. Then rebuild the freaking site and use these people to do it. Okay? Seriously. It'll be some of the most powerful backlinks that you ever get. And I went back. There we go. Okay, so there's enough of that. So, and then, some of the time, you don't need to do this every time. It's ridiculous, right? You're already thinking, oh man, this is way too much work. Well, you know what? It's a lot of work, a lot of effort. Why? Because at the end, there's a huge reward. Don't ever forget that. And that 95% of the human population out there can't put up with the work that you're doing. They're looking at this going, oh, this is too much work. I can't do it. I'm done. I'll go back to my JOB. Nah. I'll go back to my childhood ball and chain, and I'll just stay stuck to that, even though other people look from the outside and say I could just just plow right out of it. Anyways, so sometimes it should be rebuilt if it's really kind of niche specific and it's a fantastic site. But others, no. Why? You can, and you should always do this, by the way. The strength of the backlinks to the home page. If you got some really strong backlinks, and I don't mean like many, I mean you go and look at it, and then you go and click on it, find the backlink on that page, and then you need to make an educated guess. It's like, are they going to delete this or not? So let me give an example. So there was a law type site that our proprietary scraper pulled up. It's like one of Majestica. It's kind of a hobby of mine, to be frank with you folks out there, because we've my company has over, I'm almost embarrassed to say, but we have over 10,000 private blog networks, but we have a ton of sites. We have way more sites than any of you would have. So we're always in the need of looking. So hence we have the proprietary software system. We're scraping and looking, blah, blah, blah. What was my point? My point was this. So I went and scraped the site, and I looked it up, and it is in the law type niche, which is I'm in the law niche, so it's very competitive. I think I've expressed that before, but I'm never going to reveal the niche because I made that mistake before. Anyways, so if I've got a domain name that I've purchased and I'm basically kind of rebuilding on here, if it has some strong backlinks to it, just even one strong backlink, I'm not going to bother to rebuild it. Okay, I'm just not going to do that. I'm going to take the backlink and I'm going to follow it back, and I'm going to look at it and go, you know what? This is a directory for lawyers, and it's got a trust flow of 50. It's a trust flow of 50, holy smoke. It's very respectable. And it's got a list of law firms that made donations. And I can clearly see the link. It's an image, and it's going back to this domain. They ain't never going to remove that. Come on. It's like 2015 donators. Boom. What are they going to do, remove it? No, they're going to keep it on there, of course. So you kind of need to use a little bit of common sense. Okay, so most of the domains that we're going to be handing out to the CallZoom members, we're looking at this kind of stuff. How realistic is it that this PR, 27 or 20 or 25 or whatever, how realistic is that it's going to stay? Well, we look at the backlinks. And then we study the top 2 or 3 backlinks. Does it look secure? And that's how we do it. So if there's a lot of strong backlinks to your homepage, then don't even worry about it. Alrighty, private blog network backlinking. Okay, so backlinking, how do we do this? So if you have strong backlinks to your domain, then no, you don't ever need to worry about doing this. I know people get so geeky about this stuff, like, oh, I got these 20 private blog networks pointing to my niche site, and I got to do all these backlinks to them. It's taking up so much time. Nah. Hey, guess what? If you picked out the right domain to begin with that had strong backlinks going to it, you'd never have to worry about it, right? Those are the kind of domain names that we offer to our members. Period. But if you don't have that for whatever reason, then yeah, you're going to want to throw some links at it, but not junk links. And we have to forget the days of the software replicating a lot of different kind of backlink type of stuff. Those days are gone. Okay, come on, they're gone. Alrighty, so question and answers here. So these are the people who sent in their questions to the Weebly questions at callzoo.com. I think that's what it is. I do appreciate you all taking the time to do that. Some of you, we took your questions and my staff just copied and pasted it right on here. So I have no idea what it is. I do not pre-read them. Other ones that my staff felt that were not appropriate, that wouldn't benefit all or was too technical, because I'm giving high level business advice here for lead gen business, basically pay per call lead gen business. I'm not a technical person, so if you wrote in a technical question and then my staff contacted you back and said, "Hey, send this great question to our support desk," then it's probably a good idea to do that, because they can deal with that kind of stuff. I can't. Okay. So, anyways, with that, let's get started. Bottom line is, every single person who sent in a Webby questions, you're either getting, you all got 100% responses, or if there's some who sent in within the last hour, you will. Whether it's on the slides here right now or you were asked to do something else, you all got 100% response back, which you shouldn't expect anything less from my company. So anyways, here's the first question on here. Thank you so much, whoever sent it in. My site.com/disclaimer. It's coming up number 4 when I search for my brand. I don't want my disclaimer there. I want my main page. What can I do? This is a perfect example of the importance of disclaimers, which so many people just disregard. It's like, I'm going to build a niche site, blah, 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 blah. And they just totally overskip the disclaimer. This falls in line with everything we've ever experienced. And that is this. Even if we ask Google not to crawl us, they'll crawl our disclaimer pages. Like, that's the first thing they crawl. It's so important to them. That's what they crawl. Trust me, this is you did a good thing. You entered in your disclaimer pages and Google crawled you. So now you need Google to crawl your home page. How do we do that? Simple. You install, if you haven't already, it kind of looks like you have though, but you need the Google Analytics, the Webmaster Tool, install it, and then ask them to crawl your site. Okay? That's how you do that. But it's good news, and it probably sounds like it's probably a fairly new site, and a new site, a new site is going to bounce all over the place. You're going to find your homepage on, page 5, and then the next day you're going to wake up, it's like it disappeared. Where is it? And you'll wake up again. It's on page 9. And they're like, a few days later, you'll wake up, and it's like on page 4. It's called the Google dance, ladies and gentlemen. It happens. Relax. Alrighty, questions and answers. I got my Twitter, Facebook, LiveJournal, and Tumblr set up. Congratulations. That's a lot of work, by the way. So kudos to you. It's a good idea. I'm going to guess this. Is it a good idea to send referral traffic with crowd search? Guess it's okay. So do we send direct traffic from the property, or do we do a search from the platform via Google and then send the traffic from there? I just read that out loud. Are you just as confused as I am? I don't know. Maybe I'm tired. It's late here in Barcelona, but that was the most confusing question. So let me dissect it from the first part, and I'll do my best in the second. So, first of all, good job on setting up all your social accounts and all that kind of stuff. And is it a good idea to send referral traffic to your crowd search? Yeah. It's totally fine. So you want to send your crowd search to go. This is a totally legit strategy, and this is something I'll get into later, but you could do it now if you're ready. Is You take your tier 1 links, which could be your citations with a do follow link, could be some of your Web 2.0s, and you send crowd search to then click through those links on your Web 2.0 into your site and then hang out there a while. That's really, really powerful. Let me repeat that because maybe you missed it. So if you do a crowd search, and crowd search is, again, for those of you who maybe are not familiar with it or not quite up to it in the course, that's a service that allows people within your area to search for your brand name and or your product and or your main keywords. Spend 2 or 3 minutes on your site, kind of click through it, and then take off. This does enormous benefits SEO-wise, just enormous. I don't want to get into it right now. I've done it in other webinars. Just trust me, it does. So, yes, you can do your Twitter, Facebook, LiveJournal, and set up. And, yes, it's a good idea to send crowd search to it. Yeah, no problem. I guess it's so here's the second part. I guess it's okay. So do we send direct traffic from the property? Meaning I'm hoping the property is the main, like Plumbers Houston. Okay. Or do we do a search for the platform? What's the platform, my friend? Via Google. And then send the traffic from there. I'm not quite sure what the second half of your question is. Can you please send that into, not the Webby questions, okay? Because I won't look at those. My team won't look at those until the day before next week. Send your question, your second half of the question into support.callzoo.com, and I'll make sure that you're taken care of. Alrighty, I don't see much on the training webinar about how to get clients. Is that coming up in Module 10? Great question, whoever wrote that in. And let me just grab a quick drink of water. My question back to you is, and I'm obviously very active in the members area and where everybody is and stuff, so I don't do this passively. The people who are kind of leading the pack right now, who have been entered into the course and are kind of ahead of the curve, they are at this stage of the game. They have selected a niche, they've built up their niche, they put their content in, they got the citations in, they've got it indexed, and the people who are ahead of the pack are in the status of getting this stuff, to kind of show up on the first 10 pages. And so they're really in kind of the initial back linking stage. None of them are on page 1 ready to get clients. And if you are like in that position where it's like, I'm already on page 1, I'm getting so many phone calls, we can't handle it, how do we get clients? Then contact my support and we'll one-on-one help you out. But if you're just wondering, wonder, why don't you wonder why you're not on page 1? And you have a real issue, which is I got so many phone calls come in and I don't have clients. Yeah. So the way that the course is laid out, it's laid out to kind of match where the leaders of the course are right now. Okay. So if you're on page 1, if you're just rocking and rolling, and even at the bottom or middle of page 2 within your niche, and you got everything else in alignment there, then contact my support and we'll get you that information. But we'll ask to verify that you're really truly in the position that you say you are. Just saying. Because what I've seen so many times in other courses and stuff is that people will just watch the course. They won't do the work. And I really want you to watch Module 1, do the work, then move on to Module 2, do the work, turn it in, let our team review it before you move on. We're giving you every single opportunity to succeed here. but I'm always so surprised by two elements. It happens daily in the Facebook group and in the support desk. These are two things that happen daily. And this has to do with human nature. And I'm not bitching here. It's just that you need to reflect on this and ask yourself if you're one of these people, because we're not that much different from each other. So people will email in and they'll come up with literally these incredibly complex alternatives to an existing business model that works incredibly well. And they're just like, well, instead of following your step-by-step process, can I do X, Y, Z? These incredibly complex X, Y, and Z things? And we're like, no, just follow the freaking program. And then once you kick our butts, then add in your X, Y, Z's all you want left and right. But right now, if you got no success going on, then just stop it. Right? I'm not trying to be arrogant here. I want to learn from other students. And I regularly do that. I mean, I post that in there. I never want to pretend I know anything about this business. I would much rather just continue on with my current knowledge and then be completely wide open to what other people have to share. And you should be the same way. Don't come into a course or whatever that's proven and then just find 20 different ways to change it before you've even made $1. It's crazy, right? Okay, so I don't see much. Okay, I think I've belabored that point. Let's go on here. So, again, I appreciate everybody sending in questions and stuff. And on some of these, if I get a little much too kind of tough lovey, it's only because I care. Otherwise, I just buzz through these and I could just give any BS answer and just move on, right? So, can you cancel the location for the event? So this is a single individual asking me, can I cancel the event for the location and get something bigger? Anything. Having an event in a house is not normal. And nothing about me is normal, by the way. And normal is status quo. And if you look up status quo, and the true meaning of status quo, the true meaning of status quo or normal is in a state of utter confusion. That's what it means. Seriously, that's exactly what it means when you go back to its root meanings. State of utter confusion. Okay? I'm not in confusion. Okay? And yes, my company, the way we do things is not normal. And I've already addressed earlier that I didn't think that many people would show up. But you know what? It's if you want to do normal and show up in a normal hall and a normal events. I mean, I've been to hundreds of those, folks. They're just dead. They're sterile. But you want a small group of people in a home where you wake up and you sleep together. Bonds are happening. I mean, there's stuff going on there. There's some serious change going on there. And that's what I want. And that's why I ordered a house. And is it normal? No. But I'm not normal. And I don't want just normal people coming here. I want some abnormal changes. Just wanted to ask what you think about restoring expired domains from the Wayback Machine. Don't do it. Okay. Well, restoring. I already gave the response to that. So if you got a good domain, it's got good backlinks, it's got a good Wayback Machine history, and you can go, and you're smart enough to do it on your own. You know enough about websites and building websites and stuff. Then just restore all you want. Blah blah blah. It's great. If you would consider that, would you block Majestica, HRFs, bots. No, I've already addressed that question. Absolutely not. Because the only people who block that stuff is people who own private blog networks. So just don't do it. And could you tell how to 301 other pages to the home page? All right, please consider it HTML. Okay, got it. So basically what the person is asking here is that if you've got a age domain and it's got a whole bunch of pages out there on the internet, should you 301 direct those? And my short answer is no. We're going to find sites that have a lot of strong, good backlinks to the home page, and we're just going to kind of stick to that. This whole idea of, stopping bots from crawling you, these all come from people who want to sell you a plugin. Seriously. Okay? Just wake up to that reality. And they leverage off of the whole scare tactics. None of the information I've shared with you tonight, which hopefully some of it has been something you've been like, wow, I never heard that before, even if I was experienced in private blog networks. I'm not here to scare you or sell you jack diddly squat, okay? But the plugins are, okay? So, and I can't blame them. You're going to look at, I'm a plugin programmer. I'm going to look for opportunities to seize the moment and the trends and create what I think the market's interested in. Okay, so I'm not blaming them, but I don't do them. Why? Because the only people who buy those things are people who have private blog networks, and I don't want to put that kind of red flag on me. Okay, question on here. Whose private blog networks course are dangerous? Again, I don't filter out these questions. This is the first time I'm reading this. Matthew, Mike, OMG, one man gang, blah, 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 blah. So look, first of all, dangerous. I'm not going to badmouth any of these people. That's just not professional or cool or any of that kind of stuff. Okay, so I'm just not going to do that. And I haven't purchased any of their courses, so I'm not qualified to tell which ones are dangerous. But what I can tell you is this. What I'm sharing with you tonight, today, or on another webinar, or in a course or whatever about private blog networks, this comes from what works, not from rehashing what other people are supposedly saying. And you need to develop that filter, folks. Develop that filter. Are the people who are selling you, concepts about private blog networks, where are they coming from? How much are they charging? Are they really doing it themselves, or they just got a good marketing campaign going on? Just saying. Okay, what are the things we should avoid when building a private network? That's what I'm talking about right now. Okay, since it's very difficult to always find niche relevant private blog networks, it's not if you're with Callzoo, is it best to retheme them or rebuild them based on the domain's original content? How could the backlinks be from a powerful, unrelated? Okay, so I basically understand this question. Let me just kind of rephrase it. And it's a very common and valid question. It's a great question, whoever sent it in. Thank you very much. So let's say you're in the, pet niche. You're going to want to get some private blog networks from the pet niche, right? You can kind of broaden that out about a bit, right? It doesn't need to be, you could be in the pet niche of, home sitting or, dog walking or something like that. But you could get a private blog network in anything to do with pets, particularly dogs, right? And if you get one of those private blog networks, you need to look at the backlink profile. Is it strong? How do you know it's strong? Well, you like click on it and like follow it back and find it. It's like, oh, okay, this is a donation, solicited donation makers back in 2016. They're not going to delete those, okay? You need to kind of make that judgment. And if it's kind of a weak backlinking structure, then you may want to consider doing the Wayback Machine and rebuilding the site. Otherwise, no. It's way too much time. So the bottom line is this. You got strong root domain, the homepage, okay? And you got some good backlinks to it, and you got some good content to it, then don't worry about rebuilding the site. Okay, if you have sites still ranking number 1, okay, so this particular person who's sending this question has sites ranking number 1. And it's an older site. Older site. That's good in the SEO world, right? And he's ranking number 1. Okay, anyways. Older site. Would you suggest building a new site? Heck no. Per your guidelines on the, no, you're already ranking number 1. Leave the freak alone. Okay, should I use a private blog network and power the older sites? No, you're ranking number 1. Leave them alone. Common sense tells me it's a matter of time before the 5-year-old sites start to slip ranking. Hasn't so far, still profitable. Then just leave them alone. My God. If you want to kind of make sure you strengthen these up, then every 3 or 4 or 6 months, take a domain in your niche and send a nice, good, juicy backlink to it. That's it. You're already up there making money on it. Are you crazy? Don't switch nothing. Okay, let's say you created one website in a specific niche. Okay, so I created one website in, plumbing. All right. Then you duplicated that website 100 times for that niche in 100 different cities. Now, what if you used those sites as lead generators for a single e-commerce site, driving all the traffic from those 100 sites to that single e-commerce site? Could that work? Dude, chick, I don't know. Come on. This is one of those questions that's like, I'm sharing with you folks a system that works, period. And there's other people that are making it work, period. You want to reinvent the wheel and like try to convolute it and do 120 different ways to do it, then be my freaking guest. All right? But I can't comment on this. How can I comment on your question here? I can't do it. I got no experience in it. I only comment and share what I have direct experience in the real freaking world. Okay? Respect that. I only reply with that. And some of you sent in technical questions to the Webby, questions, at callzoom.com, and I just responded back. I got no idea what you're talking about. Send it to support. We're looking at more high-level business questions here. I could answer these. And I can look at this and go, you know what? I got no clue, dude. Chickette. I got no clue. I have no idea on here. So if you're like, if this is a real situation or hypothetical, more than likely this is a hypothetical situation, then get off your hypothetical, mental masturbation state and just get down to freaking work and do it. I'm sharing with you what works. And this is a perfect example of somebody taking what works and like they're trying to like manipulate it in like 150 different ways to like find another way to do it. I mean, why find another way to do what already works? So freaking surprising to me. I understand it. And I truly understand the mentality behind it, but I don't want to get into it right now because it doesn't matter. So let me go on with it. Now, what if you use those sites as lead generations for a single e-commerce site, blah, blah, blah? Would there be anything that you would want to be aware of so that Google did not penalize you for those websites? Well, I mean, I've gone over here now about private blog networks and how you don't want to be penalized by Google, and in the course I go over how not to be penalized and how to set up your profile for your niche site. So I think I've covered that on that. I don't think I know. Okay, so questions and answers. Here, I'm going to wrap this up because, it's a hour and 25 minutes, and all these have been running like 2 hours, and I even told myself when I started this I was going to do it for just 1 hour, and I'm already over 25 minutes. So every week this happens, right? Every single week this happens. Cool stuff, right? So just join next week, and we'll continue where I left off. Thank you all for attending, and the people who sent in the questions. And if you sent in the questions and I gave you kind of a hard time, it's just tough love. And you probably needed it anyways, right? So ask yourself, seriously, look back and say, what limiting beliefs do I have? Like the elephant. Think of the elephant as a baby elephant who's chained, and they're going to struggle. They're like trying to get off of that chain. They're going to struggle, but after a while they give up. And then for the rest of their lives, that chain becomes less and less weak, but more and more powerful. So you need to ask yourselves, what limiting beliefs do you have about your life, and what do you need to break through on here? I had extreme stuttering problems all the way up until 13 years old. I'm looking, today, spent the day with my family and my kids, blah, blah, blah. But I'm looking at my 13-year-old son, and I'm thinking, thank goodness he didn't have stuttering problems from the time he was 5 until 13. None. Because his life would be a total freaking wreck. And mine certainly was. And at the time and age and whatever, this was back in the early 70s in Idaho, they didn't have programs or whatever. They just kind of put stuttering kids who had problems off in the corner. But that affected me greatly, intensely. And it could have driven my life one way or the other. But no one, I guarantee, and I've never contacted them, but I guarantee you, nobody, the teachers from that era that taught me, or the students that were in the same class, they have no freaking clue who I am today. But I guarantee you they would never say, what? That kid who stuttered and couldn't even get out a full sentence without driving us crazy. Are you telling me he's getting paid $60,000, $70,000 to go speak at a single event for an hour? But you got to break through that stuff, people. You have, listen to me. You, yes, you, eye to eye right now. I don't care how many people are on the phone call right now. You and I, you have limiting beliefs that are based on your past. That social conditioning embedded in you that are slowing you down right now. You got to remove those right freaking now. You got to believe that no matter what happens, no matter what you do, that you believe that you can succeed. You have to break through this stuff because, look, people, success, no matter what level it is, no matter what you're doing, everybody along the way, and I mean everybody, the people that are most closest to you, your friends, your neighbors, your high school buddies, everybody, your spouse is going to tell you along the way, it's wrong, you cannot do it. They're going to tell you that. I promise you they will. But you have to persevere. You have to break through. You have to decide that you're not going to listen to them. That you're going to, because if you listen to them, you are listening and you are supporting that tiny, tiny little string that is attached to that gigantic elephant that everybody looks at and goes, why does that elephant not break free? That is amazing. What is going on here? It's called social conditioning. You need to make it a life mission to break free from it. You do not need to listen to it. You need to break free from it. You need to know that you are worth more than what everybody else is telling you you are. That's the bottom line, folks. I'm telling you, from someone who's been there, down and out, and done it. I'm not sharing some kind of BS. I'm trying really hard not to swear on this because people don't like that. But anyways, look, I lived in the back of a car, for crying freaking out loud. I lived in the back of a car. Can you imagine that? I remember sleeping in the backseat of the car. I could never extend. You don't know how hard it is. This is something, if you never lived in the backseat of a car, and I hope you haven't, this is something you never even realized. Okay? You can't extend out fully. You can't fully straighten out. It's really freaking hard to fall asleep if you can't extend out fully. If you can't straighten your body out. It's hard to fall asleep. Okay? It really is. And in the backseat of a car, you can't fully extend out, even though you're trying. So what happens is you end up not getting a good night's sleep. You end up sleeping, you end up awake, sleeping, awake, and then you wake up and you're just like, okay, I'm awake, the sun's out. Okay, let's start the day. But you're not fully recharged. It really sucks. Okay? And you're going to get denial every single part of the way. You're going to people, they're going to say, no, I'm not interested. No, your idea is stupid. Stop doing that kind of stuff. No, throw all that stuff aside. Seriously, that's just the little ball and chain. The whole system is trying to control you like this giant elephant. You are a giant elephant. You are a giant beast. You can trample over these cars. You can trample over any task that you believe that you can do, or you can stay attached to these social conditions that just these little thin little pieces of rope string that just barely keep you attached, but you just go, oh, that's my life. That's the way it's supposed to be. Don't believe in it. My name is Chris Winters. Take care. Bye-bye.